In a quiet Nigerian village, a family meeting takes a shocking turn when Agatha suddenly picks up a pistol and chases Andy into the bedroom. What happens next is both hilarious and heartwarming, from laughter to love, from rapper to wedding. This is the unbelievable but unforgettable story of When the Pistol Falls, a story of bold women, village gossip, and true love hidden under drama. Guys, let's find out what happened in this thrilling African folk tale. Agatha sat quietly in the compound. The sun was hot, but her heart was hotter. Mama Chioma had called a family meeting and everyone came. Auntie Ngozi, Uncle Ben, and even Auntie. Andy, whose real name was Amadi, was sitting across from her. He kept looking at her, but she didn't say a word. She just stared at him. He looked very uncomfortable. His legs were shaking small, and sweat was on his forehead. But Agatha's mind was not even in the meeting. She was thinking about something else, something serious. After some time, Agatha stood up and went inside the house. Everyone thought she was going to bring water or something, but no, she came out holding a big wooden pistol, the kind they used to pound yam, and his eyes opened wide. He stood up sharply and ran into the house. People started shouting, Agatha, what are you doing? But she was not listening. She chased Andy straight into the bedroom. Andy ran fast into the bedroom. Agatha was right behind him, holding the pistol high. People outside were shouting, Stop her! What is going on? But she didn't stop. Inside the room, Andy tried to hide behind the curtain. But Agatha was faster. She entered the room and locked the door with a loud clack. Now it was just the two of them. Andy stood still. Agatha, what are you doing? He asked, breathing hard. But before she could answer, the pistol fell from her hand. It landed on the floor with a loud bang. Then, suddenly, her wrapper loosened and fell too. There was silence. Andy looked at her. She looked at Andy. Something changed in their eyes. He smiled. So this is what you meant by chasing me? Agatha laughed shyly. You no understand before? They didn't talk much after that. There was no need. Andy stepped forward and held her hands. Agatha closed her eyes and leaned into him. They both understood the assignment. Outside, the shouting had stopped. Maybe the people had gone. Maybe they were listening quietly at the door. Who knows? But inside the room, the two of them were lost in their own world. The small bedroom, with its old green curtain and wooden bed, was now their special place. The fan was not even working, but they didn't mind the heat. They were too busy enjoying each other. For a long time, no one said a word. Then Agatha giggled. Konji is not a good thing. Andy nodded, smiling. It can make somebody run mad. After some time, they came out of the room. Agatha was tying her wrapper again, and he was using his hand to fix his shirt. They looked around. Everywhere was empty. The plastic chairs from the meeting were scattered. The snacks on the table were gone. Even Mama Chioma's wrapper was still hanging on the chair, but she was not there. Chai, Andy said, I am sure they had everything. Agatha covered her face with her hands. How will I face them tomorrow? Andy started laughing. You better start thinking of what you will say. Agatha laughed too. Maybe I will say I was possessed. They both laughed so loud that a goat walking by the gate stopped and looked at them. Then Agatha touched his hand. Let's just go back inside. They went back into the room. This time, holding hands, Agatha locked the door again. Andy looked at her. You sure you are ready for round two? Agatha raised one eyebrow. You dey fear? Andy laughed. You never change. Even since secondary school, you always get power. They jumped back on the bed and lay close. This time, there was no pistol, no shouting, just soft laughter and quiet kisses. Agatha looked at him. I don't know how tomorrow will be, but Today I am happy. Andy smiled and brushed her cheek. Me too. Let them talk. Let them guess. At least we no hide. Outside, the sky was turning orange. The village was calm again. But inside, their love story was just beginning. The next morning, Agatha woke up first. She sat up on the bed, looked around, and sighed. Chai, today go hard. Andy was still sleeping beside her, snoring softly. His mouth was open like somebody dreaming of suya. Agatha got up quietly and peeped through the window. Mama Chioma was sweeping the compound, but she didn't look up. Auntie Ngozi was washing plates. The air was full of quiet judgment. Agatha tiptoed to the door, opened it slowly, and came out. The whole compound paused. Even the chicken stopped picking. Mama Chioma looked at her. Good morning, Agatha. Agatha smiled nervously. Good morning, ma. No one said anything else, just the sound of broom and water splashing. She knew they all knew. Andy came out later, wearing a big smile. He greeted everyone like nothing happened. Good morning, my people. Nobody answered. They just looked at him like fish in the market. Andy leaned close to Agatha. Waiting we go to now. Agatha whispered, just follow my lead. She cleared her throat. Everybody, please, I want to say something. They all turned to her. She stood tall and looked serious. I don't know what you people think you had yesterday, but nothing happened though. I was chasing Andy because he hid my necklace. Yes, my gold chain. Andy nearly laughed out, but hid it in. Mama Chioma squinted. Gold chain? In that bedroom? Agatha nodded fast. Yes, ma. It fell down. Then my wrapper fell. And the pistol too. The crowd didn't look convinced. The village talk started that afternoon. Children were giggling behind corners. Aunties were whispering with wide eyes. Uncle Ben just shook his head anytime he saw Agatha. One small boy passed by and shouted, Auntie Pistol, Auntie Pistol. Agatha chased him with a slipper. Andy couldn't stop laughing. You don't become village celebrity. She rolled her eyes. Better celebrity than pretend saint. They both sat under the mango tree. Andy held her hands. You still want to go back to the city next week? He asked. She was quiet. I don't know. Maybe. Andy looked at her. Stay with me. Agatha blinked. You are serious? He nodded. Konji or no konji, I love you. That night, Auntie Ngozi called Agatha inside. Sit down, she said. You know I love you, right? Agatha nodded. What you and Andy did, everybody knows. Agatha looked down. But love is not shameful, Auntie continued. Just don't lie about it again. Agatha looked up. You are not angry? Auntie smiled. I was young once too. I chased your uncle with a broom. They both laughed. Just ask yourself if Andy is truly your person. If yes, face the world with boldness. Agatha hugged her. Thank you, Auntie. When she stepped outside, Andy was waiting. She smiled at him. You still want me to stay? Andy opened his arms. Stay forever. The next day, Agatha and Andy walked through the village, hand in hand. Heads turned, mouth opened, people whispered, but they didn't mind. They greeted everyone politely. When someone said Auntie Peso, they just smiled. They walked to the market, bought roasted corn, and sat on a bench together. The sun was warm. The air smelled of smoke and stew. Andy turned to her. So you ready to be my wife? Agatha dropped her corn in shock. Eh? Andy laughed. You chased me with Peso. You better marry me, oh. She laughed too. Let me think about it. And the wink. You have already decided. They sat there, two lovers in a small Nigerian village, laughing and eating corn, while the rest of the town kept guessing what really happened the day the pistol fell. 2 days later, Andy dressed in his best outfit, white native wear with black sandals. He combed his hair well and even used perfume. Are you ready? Agatha asked. Andy looked nervous. To face your parents? No, but I must try. They walked together to Agatha's family house. Her father was sitting outside, drinking palm wine. Her mother was roasting plantain. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma. Andy greeted. They nodded, watching him closely. Agatha took a deep breath. Daddy, Mommy, this is Andy. He is the one. Her father raised one eyebrow. The pistol boy? Andy scratched his head. Yes, sir, that's me. Silence. Then her mother smiled. At least he is bold. Welcome, Andy. Andy sighed with relief. Later that evening, the families sat down to talk. Plates of rice and fried meat were served. Uncle Ben said, we must do things properly. You people can't just fall in love with pistol and wrapper. There must be bride price. Everyone laughed. Andy nodded. Seriously, I am ready, sir. I want to marry Agatha. Mama Choma smiled. I've been waiting for this day. The list was brought out. Yam, goat, wrapper, palm wine, everything was written. Andy blinked. Chai, this bride price list is like final year exam. Agatha laughed. Better start saving. But she was happy for the first time in her life. Everything felt right. A few days later, Agatha sat under the mango tree thinking. Andy came and sat beside her. You are quiet today, he said. She nodded. Andy, let me ask you something serious. Are you sure this is love? Or was it just Konji that day? Andy smiled quietly. Konji brought us close, but love is what made us stay. Agatha smiled. Good answer. He touched her hand. Even if that pistol didn't fall, I would still be here. She laughed. That pistol helped us so. They both stared at the sky, feeling peaceful. Whatever people said didn't matter anymore. The big day came. The compound was decorated with balloons, flowers, and bright wrappers. Agatha wore a golden lace gown and red beads, and he wore a fine wine-colored agbada. The village band played music, and people danced everywhere. Mama Chioma danced with a plate of jollof rice. Uncle Ben sprayed money. Even the goats in the backyard was jumping with joy. The pastor said, do you, Andy, take Agatha, pistol chaser, as your wife? Andy laughed and said, yes, I do. Everyone cheered. Then the pastor said, you may kiss the bride. Andy leaned in. Agatha whispered, don't drop anything this time. 1 year later, Agatha and Andy sat outside their new house. A baby boy slept on Agatha's arm. His name was Chinedu. The same pistol that once caused drama now stood as decoration beside their door. Whenever visitors come, they ask, is this the famous pistol? Agatha would smile and say, yes, this pistol changed my life. Andy would add, Konji may confuse you, but love will guide you. The neighbors still talked, but now they talked with respect. Agatha looked at her family, her home, her peace, and whispered, it was all worth it. If the story made you laugh or blush, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe for more bold and beautiful African folk tales like this. Comment below. What would you have done if you were in that meeting? New stories drop every week. Turn on the bell so you never miss the next twist. Thank you for watching Folktale with Chinelo.